Welcome back to another weekly crypto market recap, number 17. There's a lot to unpack. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack. I mean, we had the brown backpack guy. Don't know if you followed that whole saga.
No, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, there was this guy at DEF CON in Bogota, um, and there was this photo booth where a photographer was doing sort of I guess 3D photos.
Yeah,
That's what the post was saying. I don't know exactly what a 3D photo would be, but anyways, there was this group of women um, who was doing the photo, and the brown backpack guy had been chatting with the photographer for a while, and the photographer had just said to each group to jump, because then if there's some action going on in the photo, it comes out better if it's in
yeah,
3D. So this guy with the brown backpack was saying to the group of women, jump. And they all of a sudden got really angry just because he said jump. Apparently, at least that's what the post said.
yeah.
Um, and then they basically reported him for harassment to the Ethereum Foundation, and yeah, like it was a whole thing. It got way out of hand, and then he basically said that they were sort of stalking him and um, kind of putting security on him for 2 days. And even when he went to a different event, like later at night in a nightclub, he ran into them again, and they got him kicked out of the bar for some reason. Yeah, so that was quite
That's
messy, I guess. Yeah, so
See,
that was a bit of a
some
thing.
people were talking about it. I just didn't get the full context. Now I get it. That's annoying. Like,
Yeah,
like they could have literally just found out if they were, if the photographer was saying that for every other group after them, and they would have seen that it was just normal to say
yeah,
jump or, move in the picture. That's pretty funny. Wow.
yeah. Seems to be one big misunderstanding, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, on some, lighter, on some better news, the world's largest custodian bank, BNY Mellon launches crypto custody. Oh my goodness,
Custody,
custody.
sorry.
Sorry,
No
custody
worries.
services. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we're slowly moving towards this, where um, first it was like, no, no, we don't service you if you do anything even related to crypto. To now, um, these larger banks holding crypto, or not, maybe they don't hold crypto themselves, right? But they make it possible for customers to hold crypto.
Right, and they they're obviously gonna earn their fee. So who knows what they
Yep.
do with that at that
Yeah.
point? So it's yeah, that's great to see. Honestly, I mean, like it makes sense for them to do it now when it's the bear market. Everybody's like scared and holding on to cash, and they're just gonna allow people to just maybe institutional investors, like the right people, to get in legally with large amounts for like any specific crypto they might want it to like accumulate. So it's great to see. I mean, like it just shows that there is still liquidity coming into the market in one way or another, and like it's gonna keep growing because of like the more projects that's gonna be released and the more upgrades are that come into place, with time, and it's gonna be really interesting to see like how many more banks end up like you know allowing their customers to have this type of service as well, especially coming this year because this is really the best time to really do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I guess more competition for the user experience part, right? And the user interface, I
Yeah,
guess. Because I think in the end, sort of the fees that you will pay will probably trend to roughly the same, like an equilibrium. Um, but yeah, it will just be all right. Who can offer the best user experience in my maybe not so very objective experience? I would say in general, I've had a pretty terrible customer experience with banks, but maybe if they really have to get their money's worth, they'll offer a better experience for crypto. But
I
yeah,
agree.
let's see. And otherwise, I mean, the likes of MetaMask and I mean, even the centralized exchanges will just take their lunch. And yeah,
No, it's definitely there's definitely a race going on, and like them being one of the first, like not even one of the first, but one of the largest like custodian banks. Like it's they're gonna try to like eat up as much of the market share as they can, especially
yeah,
now. Like it makes the most sense before everybody else already like has a strong grip of the market share they hold. So it's
yep,
like it'll be very interesting to see, definitely. And well, this is what it pretty much surprised me honestly, because it's like I mean it makes sense. I seen Google allowing the ability for you to see the exchange rate for like Ethereum, Bitcoin, maybe some other cryptos. So now seeing them like allow the ability for users to easily see an Ethereum address, like any that's that's interesting because it just
yeah,
shows the amount of adoption that has gone on, regardless of like the price. And people need to realize this because like not many even know how to use Etherscan. So them
yeah.
easily just like pasting in their the Ethereum address and seeing their balance and everything. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean that's again, I think for me at least, it's in the realm of user experience. Like you said, how many people know how to use Etherscan or another block explorer versus how many people
Exactly.
know how to use Google? I mean, yeah, pretty much everyone who uses a computer knows how to use Google, right? I think
Yeah.
the sort of group of people who know how to use a computer but don't know how to use Google is very very small, if anyone. I think that would be a sort of almost a sort of time traveler from like the 1980s or something who'd never experienced Google. So yeah, I mean, another great step for adoption, even if you don't like Google as a company, to be honest. And
No, seriously. And like
still,
they have a ton of users constantly, and it's great to see that they're like allowing their users to be able to use something like this seamlessly. And like I could see them adding more features in the future where like just makes the users like user interface a lot easier and a lot simpler. So like I mean it just benefits everybody overall. I mean, who knows how Google is positioned regardless. So like them doing this, it's helping them at the end of the day too. Because more people on their website.
yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see if Google could make a sort of simplified version of a block explorer, or not even necessarily simplified, but with a more intuitive user
Mm,
interface. That would be interesting. Then I think that people would definitely uh, yeah, they would definitely use that over Etherscan, I guess, at least newer users, right? I think people like you and I who've already used Etherscan for a few years, maybe we wouldn't switch to a different way to view addresses unless it was significantly better.
right.
um, but yeah, it's still good, just from a perspective of adoption. I think yeah, it's very valuable.
No, agreed. Like even because with Google search, like you can like I've seen people like put in different ways to search things to find it in different ways, like find the specific thing they're looking for in a specific way. So I could see the same thing with like something like this, where like you can like let's just say put your Ethereum address and then maybe add some other points, some other keywords, and then you could find that specific thing without you having to really sift through Etherscan or any other block explorer in the future. So like yeah, no, it's really really good to see. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like it's pushing everybody forward. So, you know, I'm happy to see that. And
Yeah, this
you
one.
want to go into
Yeah, I
it?
mean, it's just crazy. I mean, we already knew Congress was trading, right? Like basically
Yeah,
insider trading. I mean, you even have that account. I think it's called something like Nancy Pelosi
yeah,
stock
yeah.
or something, um,
It's
which
funny.
which is sort of like okay. I mean, it's still super bad, of course, right? Like if you have people who are in charge of making the laws, um, basically trading on their knowledge that's not accessible to the
Yeah, that's
outside
not
world
fair at
is,
all
yeah,
because they see
not
it
fair.
before everybody else. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely not fair at all. But I feel, personally at least, I feel that having like these oversight bodies, like these people who are supposed to be the regulators, them do it. It's even worse for me at least. It feels like
because they know
whereas
what they're doing.
yeah, exactly. Exactly because then it's like the politicians, yeah, they're completely fraudulent, but at least in theory they have to act within like the regulatory framework, right? Like basically
Yeah,
within the law. Um, Even though they're still insider trading, and that's obviously not supposed to happen. But it's, for me at least, it's even worse if you have people doing this who make the framework in which the politicians have to act, right? They yeah, that's just so crazy. They're supposed to um, enforce all these things, and then they're doing the insider trading. So
yeah,
it's
and
completely unacceptable to me. I mean,
because it doesn't make sense at all. Because it's like you're going after like like employees at companies trying to do insider trading because they know something ahead of time, right? To be able to
yeah,
profit, and that's just a small little drop in the ocean.
and
But someone
that's
had
illegal as hell. Like you
exactly.
definitely, if you get caught, you're going to jail probably.
Exactly. No, it makes sense, because like you have an edge.
Yeah,
You didn't. It's not like you got the edge like legally. You got it
yeah,
in a way that not everybody has access to. But like them, like the politicians doing it. That's an entirely different level because like you're not profiting from a drop. You're profiting from like a waterfall because you
yeah,
could see when the waterfall happens. Like you could see when exactly to move money around and just profit percent like 20% in 1 month. Like I seen the last time
yeah.
Nancy Pelosi I think got into Nvidia or something like that. Like it's come on now. Like how is that fair? Honestly, like we're over here like struggling to find any drop of alpha, just to profit. But like
I mean, that
it's
is one aspect, but I would say for the average person, it's even worse, right? Like they
yeah.
see,
Oh,
like the average person who is not into investing or
right.
finance or whatever at all, it's like they can hardly pay the bills by now because there's so much inflation and like an energy crisis and I mean even a housing crisis in parts of the world. I think especially in cities, and then they see the people uh, who are supposed to represent them, like protect their rights, just blatantly, basically give them the finger, like yeah, yeah, rules for thee, but not for me. Like it's obviously completely unfair what they do.
Oh yeah, and then like this is going into like lobbying and everything like that, and then
Yeah,
going further into the way where like they can manipulate like the rules that they're like the way that they're structuring the framework to begin with to favor the stocks or investments they already have in place, and that is just like we have nowhere close to the power to be able to
yeah,
do
no, no, no,
even 1% of that, and
yeah,
they're able to do it just like if it's nothing. I mean, look, bro. Oh my god, this is just insane. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, this is not something that's just like now popping up. Like, this has been known, and like I've seen
Yeah,
like a reporter trying to like interview Nancy Pelosi on this idea, and like she just like completely like ignored them, and like if it was nothing, because they know it's it's a huge advantage. Why would they try to like talk like about it in any way, you know?
yeah,
Because it would just like add to the pressure, and like probably like take it away from like not just her but from anybody to be able to invest, and that honestly should be in place. And I forgot. Remember we talking about it? Like they would need to do it in a specific time frame now. Like I don't know. Like
what do you mean a specific time frame?
I'm not sure if we talked about it on a live stream or if it was off live stream. Like I remember like there was news that specifically they would have to do it under like a specific amount of days, and then they would get like a penalty, but the penalty was like $100.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's like if you're trading hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions, tens of millions, like you think $100 is gonna like you
Yeah,
might as well just like
that's
take
just
the
the
penalty.
cost of doing business. I mean,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, dude,
it lasts. I mean, yeah, what do you expect?
it's crazy though. It's honestly, it's really crazy. I mean, yeah. And then like you see the SEC just targeting, retail mostly for like what fucking buying crypto, buying Ethereum, Dogecoin, like things that like it's like yeah, okay, like
Wait, they're going after retail?
no, 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 like I'm just saying in general, the whole idea of
Oh
them
yeah,
going
right,
after the
yeah,
space, it's like yeah, you're targeting this space and everything, but like look at the real problem. I see that as the real problem.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
come on now.
yeah, it's so obvious. There was one article, even that we I don't think is up for discussion today, or like not scheduled for discussion. But just as a quick side note, like the
Mm.
SEC is going after the founders of Board Ape Yacht Club,
Right. Yeah,
um,
I did see that. Yeah.
which okay, I don't know the sort of origin story. I'm not super into the board apes or anything, but from all the scams in crypto and especially the NFT space, I don't really think they're the worst offenders by a large, large, large margin. I think
No, agreed.
like you could find projects that are so much worse. Um, they're actually trying to build something. There's so many rug pulls going on in crypto and in NFTs. So it's yeah, it's surprising to me why they're going after them and not anyone else really.
No, it just. I mean, I feel like they're just, you know, at this point trying to make a point, like trying to like hold pretty much Board APR Club as an example. Like, look,
Yep.
we'll take them down. So imagine what we will do to you. So like,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty crazy to begin with. Do you know exactly what they were targeting? Like, what specific thing they did? Like, was it like
Ooh,
them do airdropping like
um,
a token or something?
that is probably it. Yeah, that sounds like they would
Yeah.
get caught for that. Let's see if I can quickly find it. Um, right. Okay. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. Yeah. Um, they're kind of investigating, which is not necessarily. It says here it doesn't necessarily mean that Yuga Labs, the founders, or the company behind Bored Apes, it doesn't necessarily mean they're in trouble. But the SEC is going to investigate whether their NFTs should be considered securities,
Mm.
um, which I mean, of course, you can investigate. Like it sounds more. like research at this point, to be honest. So maybe
Yeah.
I remembered it incorrectly. But yeah, again, it seems it seems so dumb to go after them when there's so much worse actors.
No, I agree. Like it's yeah. Like I don't know. There's gonna be they're gonna eventually find like the worst actors, of course. Like they're just now just really realizing that like the amount of like actors to begin with in the space that are even like doing anything in general, and like they don't really know what's right from wrong. They're just learning as they go, and like
Yeah,
we could try to educate them, but like they're gonna make their own decisions and have their own perspectives. But like they're gonna realize it once they like like they try like something like this right now. Like people are gonna have some like they're gonna have something to say. They're gonna try to like say, oh no, this shouldn't be considered a security or whatever they might say. But like in the future, they're gonna get to a point where like they're really gonna start targeting those actors where like nobody has anything to say. If anything, they're like people are helping them. Like, oh look, these are their wallets. This is not. So then they could catch the ones that are rug pulling and the bad actors mainly. But right now they're just pretty much figuring it out. I feel like this is something pretty much Uniswap kind of went through. Like there was a point when they were like being investigated. I don't know if it was like like really that serious, but like I mean, they ended up with like a lot of you could say feds on their team now.
yeah,
So it's pretty funny. So like Uniswap is good now. They see Uniswap in a way brighter light
yeah,
now because it's they're going after DeFi in general, and this is a decentralized exchange, and it's
yep.
but like they like I said with like Board APR Club, they're probably just figuring it out too, and whatever they decide on that, they would either have to adjust that in the future or go based off of that. Let's just see.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this, or not exactly this, but sort of the regulations in general for
Yeah,
crypto. It seems to me that the US is in such a good position um, to kind of, in a positive way, exploit this. I mean, exploit is not the right word, but kind of, um, I
it
guess,
kind of is
promote
what they're doing.
promote. Yeah, yeah. Right now, they're negatively exploiting it, I would say, but
Yeah, 100%.
um, I would say even though there are, for example, a lot of crypto users in Asia, I still feel like that most protocols are coming more out of the US and maybe some from Europe and Asia as well. But I feel like most innovation is still coming from the US, to be honest. Um, and of course, like pretty much all major stable coins are denominated in dollars. So if the US was smart, or at least that's my thought process here, I would be encouraging it as much as
Mm,
possible, but maybe in a way to also see um, if they can have some. I mean, yeah, of course they want to have some control over it, I guess, but maybe more a little bit more hands off control.
mm,
Whereas now it just seems they're going after all the bad people, or like the wrong people. I mean, as
yeah,
in they're going after mostly pretty innocent actors and like even good actors in some cases, um, and not they don't care at all about the scammers, and they're trying to crack down on stablecoins. I guess after the whole Luna Terra meltdown, which
oh
I mean,
man,
yeah, that somewhat makes sense. I mean, it would make sense to go after, I guess, the algorithmic stablecoins because, to be
yeah,
honest, so
right.
far we haven't really seen any that survive long term that didn't have some yeah, like something wrong with it, right? Like MIM is still Magic Internet Money is still going as far as I know,
Yeah,
but that also debacked for a short while. To be fair, like not really that long. Um, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I was the US, I would be encouraging it because then like if crypto really takes off, you're solidifying even more the reserve currency status
right.
of the dollar. Because if they now completely try to shut it down, you can bet that I don't know either China or maybe yeah maybe another power will try to sort of fill that role of the stablecoin issuer. But
Yeah,
yeah, there it isn't really. That wouldn't really be great, because whether we like it or not, the dollar is still the strongest currency. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I hope they don't really completely shut it down, but that remains to be seen.
No, yeah, and I mean, they have the strongest position. I mean, we've seen the top, like what, three validated on Ethereum, holding like larger than 50%, right? Like,
Yep. Yep.
and those are companies in the U.S., and it's like, U.S. is really going after like even Uniswap and like really trying to like, oh look, this is like you can consider a U.S. company or like in control of the U.S. and like it's gonna keep going in that direction because like the next step is CBDCs, right?
Yeah.
And USDC, like I mean, like one of like the guys, like one of the guy, I forgot what was his name, but like there was a guy that was acting as a U.S. comptroller when Trump was the president, and he came from I think it was either Circle or Coinbase, but like either way they connected,
Yeah.
and like it's I mean it's already there. I see USDC already like maybe not a full fledged CBDC for the US dollar, but like it's slowly getting there, and like that's the race right now. Which country has the first like fully fledged working like CBDC. I mean, you could argue China was already on that for years,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like if China, let's just say, overtakes the U.S., you know, as a reserve currency, and they implement the CBDC, yeah, then there's no way to like overtake China at that point. But the U.S. is already in position to do that. They already have the reserve currency. Like the US dollar is already the reserve currency. All they
Yeah.
need to do is just really push out this, US CBDC at this point. And like, yeah, you're right. They should be encouraging this because they're gonna just push out their CBDCs throughout all these applications on all these blockchains. So it just makes sense to continue pushing this technology forward to then like really release their CBDC and really have a stronghold on the world reserve currency.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I guess I think pretty much all or it's not even that I think I know that all the major banks are looking into CBDCs.
100%.
Hoping they never arrive, but I don't think that's realistic. So I hope they arrive
Yeah.
rather later than sooner, and that they aren't as dystopian as they could be, because there's definitely the probability.
No,
But
I
yeah,
agree. Like that's why I get the idea of trying to create this algorithmic stablecoin or a stablecoin that's backed by like crypto assets. So then it's not like our reliance on these CBDCs once they're like everywhere. And like it makes sense. We have DAI, but even DAI is like majority backed by USDC. So it's like we need to figure out that problem, you
yeah,
know? Because if they do get to that point, either China or the US, having CBDCs regardless is an issue. And it's like you said, it's inevitable. It's not like we could just pretend it's not coming. We just need to figure out a solution now to have an alternative. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this for quite a while, but I still think
Yeah.
sort of the end game will be, if CBDCs are here, then the end
Mhm.
game and the opposite would be sort of fully private Ethereum, right? Or any other layer. I mean, I'm just saying Ethereum now because it's the most decentralized and secure.
Yeah.
Um, but if there, I mean, as something like Aztec would be pretty great if they can scale well. Um, but yeah, I think there's a sort of limited time frame or window of time where you could do that, because if the CBDC is already completely implemented and like everyone's already used to that, and then 5 years after that you start thinking about, maybe we should try to make a sort of privacy layer for Ethereum, then I
Exactly.
feel like it's already kind of too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that'll get developed sooner than later.
No, agreed. Like, I mean, they have to do something at this point. It's like everybody says, like, oh yeah, like, we'll just hold Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, but
Like, you
yeah,
know,
there's no smart contract functionality on Bitcoin, so
exactly,
that's bullshit.
exactly. And the
To
thing
be
is,
honest,
like,
yeah,
if even if Bitcoin had the absolute minimum, like a maker DAO specifically for Bitcoin, just for that, right? And now there's a DAI that's like backed by Bitcoin, right? Maybe, but like there's still like you still gotta test that, and there's obviously gonna be more problems than just what we're just talking about. Like there's layers to it, and the solution is not just gonna be some simple thing. It's gonna be quite complicated. But like yeah, we have to figure it out, and we gotta look at all the tools that we have in our toolbox, and it's I don't know, it's
yeah,
gonna be very interesting to see what we can figure out, because it's just gonna be a problem overall. It doesn't matter like what you're into. Like at the end of the day, you gotta buy things, and to buy things, you have to have
it,
some currency, regardless of what currency it is.
yeah. I mean, that's the problem. You want to sort of you want something that's not as volatile as crypto. So in that sense, something like the dollar is great, or even other fiat currencies, even if they're inflationary, even more than the dollar is. But that's the second point I'm now was going to make. Like, you also don't want something where you're just losing your purchasing power year
Yeah,
after year after year after year. Like even with the target of 2% inflation per year, because that's the target. They're pretty much telling you, yeah, even if we don't have a lot of inflation, we always want to have some inflation, right? Which is
exactly.
pretty absurd if you think about it, because then after like a few years, I don't have the calculator ready at hand right now, but you still lose like a lot of money over time. So
Agreed. No,
yeah,
no, agreed. I mean, that's why we're in crypto, right? It's like people argue like Bitcoin's sound money and Ethereum's ultra sound money now, especially with like the merge happened and everything, and like you could see it's already deflationary, and it's like I mean, it could be something. It could be the start to the solution we're looking for. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And it's like we hold assets like these not because you can call it a share of the company, but because you, in a way, are hedging inflation, because you're trying to you're determining that like this ecosystem, you can call it, is gonna continuously grow and expand. So then the value of this utility token is gonna continuously grow and expand. So then like it'll be like a hedge against like everything else continuously, being inflated. So I
yeah,
mean, it's really interesting, honestly. I mean, who knows what could be the real solution? It could be like, a mixture of all of them. It could be like the S&P 500, like for all these utility tokens in a way, right? And like I don't know, it could be weird. really interesting. That's why I like it. I like talking about this because it's like we're all struggling with this problem. It's not just like
Yeah, that's the
oh,
thing. I was, I don't remember. Ah, fuck! It was a Michael Saylor tweet even, where he was saying something like, it was so dumb coming from Michael Saylor, but the point was great, to be honest, because he was saying something like, people shouldn't have to like gamble each day just to keep their purchasing power, something along
right.
those lines, which is super true because that's sort of, I guess, what we're doing. Yeah, with trading or investing, you do want to do something to at least keep your purchasing power, or like ideally outperform it, even, of course.
Agreed.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to do that every day, or I mean, maybe in the case of investing, it's not necessarily every day, right? But just to keep your purchasing power should be easier than that. But
No,
yeah,
agreed.
unfortunately, it's not.
No, like, and that's why I even touched on the point of the S&P 500 because that was like that was their solution, right? And that was a that was a great solution for like for a set period of time. You could argue properties are as well, even gold, but like you could see over time, like like shares get inflated, gold in some fashion gets inflated. Like
Yep.
it's really hard to like argue like, oh yeah, we already have these solutions, let's just focus on what we have. No, that's why crypto has been booming, is because this can possibly be the solution. Like if like it's not just like, oh yeah, an S&P 500 but crypto, we're just investing into it, like you can call it token sets, it's already here. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, oh yeah, like a portion of the portfolio is in Ethereum, a portion is in Chainlink, a portion is in XYZ, and it's not just you're holding on to it, like it's being like properly utilized in the ecosystem. Like it's like Ethereum is staked, the Chainlink it's staked, like it's gonna be very interesting to see what like something like that, how would that function, and how would that will like like how that would be compared to like some of these other old solutions that we have, and trying to like hedge against inflation in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think this is pretty much also what they were saying in The Sovereign Individual, just to
Mm.
quote that book once more. It was basically a scenario where all these sort of currencies have to compete against each other, right? And
Mm.
you can let the market decide which is the best currency. And
Right.
right now, it seems to be the dollar, but that's then. Um, I mean, we're not, I guess, completely at the point that they, or the scenario that they paint, because I guess you would get more of a scenario like that when you can actually pay um, in all these different coins and tokens, right? Like, not right now, you could say within crypto, there's, I guess, certain coins that are favored over others because um, for whatever reason, right? Like whatever the market decides. But I guess in the real world, you can't really argue that, because then, for
It,
example, at the supermarket, I can pay
yeah.
with Bitcoin or
Exactly.
Ethereum. So
Right.
it's not fair competition in that sense. But yeah, it will be interesting if we ever get to such a point,
I feel
which,
like
to
we
be
definitely
honest,
are.
I
Yeah.
don't know. But it would be interesting.
The reason I say like I think we are is because like
Like
right
we
now,
are getting to that point, you mean?
yeah, because like right now I didn't realize it either until I actually like was using like the application. But like I went to go like pay for like my GPUs. I had to pay like the rental fees, and
Yeah.
like I use crypto.com. Like they have this pay feature where I can pay in any crypto, and like it
Right.
just pays for the service, and like that's pretty cool to see. That's like, oh wow, like all I needed to do was go onto the website, say that I'm gonna pay in crypto. It shows a QR code, and I just scan it through crypto.com and their crypto pay like feature. So then I just scan that, send whatever amount of like you know in crypto that I wanted to send to pay for the service. And like that's just it's not just that, it's like there was like other applications that you could have, already done that immediately. And like I could see like a future where like the same way we go and just, I mean, in the US I see that already completely, where like Apple Pays everywhere. You don't even
Yeah,
need to have a
true.
debit card or anything. You just, scan with your watch or your
Yeah,
phone. So it'd probably be the exact same thing with crypto. And like the exchange, like changing it to dollars or whatever will probably like be done in the back end, you know? And that'd be pretty cool to see.
yeah. I mean, that will be interesting to see if a company like Apple or
Oh
Google
yeah,
can
I
sort
think
of
I heard
take
that.
over the function of banks. Because at that
100%.
point you're almost doing that already.
Dude, like it's, you have no idea. Like this, right now there's this application like where you can pretty much, let's just say you could take a loan, you can call it, but like you deposit 25% of it. Let's say you was gonna borrow $100, you deposit 25%, and then the $100 goes and buys, let's just say, some shoes, and they give you a debit card with the $100 in there, where you go buy the shoes or whatever you're gonna spend the $100 on, and then you pay that $25, so you have to pay the other 75. Like you pay 25 per week or whatever, and like,
Okay.
and that's pretty cool because you pay no interest or whatever, and it's already like, like the fees are already agreed upon and you see it and everything. And like there's been a bunch of applications like that lately. And like Apple said that they're gonna implement something like that for Apple Pay. And that is pretty cool. Cause then like I could see that being implemented, and then more features along the lines of that where like they expand like the Apple Cash, where it's like a legitimate debit card.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think at that point, they're really competing with banks, and I think especially the younger generation,
Yeah,
just out of sort of ease of use, will probably gravitate more towards Apple. I would say, because
agree.
like I said, my experience with banks from a customer perspective is, to be honest, not the best. Maybe the banks in America are better. It could be.
They're not.
Yeah. So um, I think probably the customer experience for Apple is better, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, that's just, yeah, usually how things go. So
No,
yeah,
agree. Agree.
interesting. But I would say let's end it right here.
Yeah, no,
Pick up
you want to
next
end it
week.
right here? Yeah,
Yeah,
we want to continue the Uniswap next week.
sure. Yeah.
All right, all right, guys. I'll see you guys next week.